Alright, what's up, everybody? We're back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today's video, we're going to be talking about last night's game between the Cavaliers and the Celtics, an insane comeback by Cleveland on national TV. We're going to talk about here in today's video, and a few other things that happened last night as well here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. Enjoyed the content around here. Consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, it's all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Link to my Twitter in the description down below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So last night we had the Cavs and Celtics playing. The Celtics coming in on an 11-game winning streak, or 11 or 12. I think it was 11-game win streak. The Cavaliers are kind of struggling coming out of All-Star break, and of course without Donovan Mitchell for the next couple games due to a PRP injection. He got his knee, so the Cavs are dealing with some stuff. Boston came out hot early. They outscored Cleveland 33-25 in the first quarter. But it was still kind of close. Jason Tatum came out really hot. Porzingis was having a good game, but the Cavs were staying in it. Defense was there. They had a couple shots. Guys like Caris LeVert, Darius Garland, Jared Allen came out really nice, starting to kind of keep this game close. But Boston was still up at the half, 55-45. It was a 10-point lead. Jason Tatum had 22 points at halftime. Porzingis had 14. Jared Allen had 13-7 for Cleveland. It was a tough one. Then the third quarter, that's when it started going downhill for the Cavs. Boston outscored them only 32-26, but Jaylen Brown started to get hot. He had 12 points in the third quarter, and the Celtics had as much as a 22-point lead in this game, especially when it got to the fourth. When it got to the fourth quarter, Boston scored the first 3 buckets of the fourth quarter, scored the first 6 points, and led by 22 points, 93-71, with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And from that point on, Cleveland outscored Boston 35-11. From that point on for the rest of the game, Dean Wade put up 20 points in the fourth quarter. He had, I think, 5 threes, I want to say. Was perfect in the fourth quarter. He provided the spark they needed. Isaac Okoro hit a couple shots as well. So did Georges Niang. Hit a big 3 to cut it down to 10. Darius Garland started to get a lot more involved in the game in terms of, passing and getting everyone else involved. Guys like Dean Wade and Isaac Okoro and them. The Celtics were just starting to miss. The fourth quarter for Boston was not great shooting-wise. Boston shot. They had 17 points in the quarter. Shot 30% from the field, was 8 for 26 and 0 for 8 from 3 in the fourth quarter, while Cleveland shot 73%, 11 for 15, 8 for 11 from 3. They only missed 4 shots in the entire quarter, and Darius Garland didn't hit a field goal. Darius Garland only had a 1 point in the fourth quarter. But yeah, Dean Wade put up 20 in the fourth quarter. Jordan Niang hit a couple threes in that quarter. So does Isaac Okoro hit a big 3-pointer. And then a couple free throws to make. Porzingis had an and 1 with 36 seconds left to make it a 1-point lead. Cavs came down there and Garland missed, kind of forced a belay, but Dean Wade with the putback dunk with 19 seconds left to make it a 1-point lead. The Celtics come down on the next possession, and they run the clock all the way down. Jason Tatum takes a fadeaway over Garland and Jared Allen. At first they call a foul. The Cavaliers use a challenge, and the Cavaliers win the challenge, saying that it was not a foul call because Jason Tatum kind of kicked his leg out, and so Garland didn't really necessarily make contact with him there, and so it turned into a jump ball. It was only 0.7 on the clock. Time ran out. The Cavaliers come back and get a win, 105-104. For the entire game, Dean Wade was the leading scorer for Cleveland, 23 points, 8 rebounds, shot 6 for 9 from 3. 20 in the fourth quarter was amazing. Jared Allen had 21 and 12 in this game. Garland had 16 and 11 assists, 16 for Isaac Okoro. He hit 4 threes, 10 for Caris LeVert off the bench. Evan Mobley also did get injured in this game in the third quarter on his own ankle. He fell. He dunked, and he kind of fell, tripped on his own ankle. So we don't know how that's going to look. Another injury for Cleveland. But just an amazing win. The energy for the Cavaliers was big that night. They needed a win like this because coming out of the All-Star break did not look good. I think they were 2-4 or 3-4. Just coming out of All-Star break, Donovan Mitchell, of course, been in and out of the lineup, dealing with this knee injury. Now he's going to be out for the next couple games. And they haven't looked good without Donovan Mitchell, But to get a win like this, especially against the Celtics, who have been the best team in the league, we're on a 11 or 12-game win streak with the hottest team in the league. To come back down 22 in the fourth quarter and win that game, thanks to Dean Wade, the Dean Wade game, that's huge. That is just so much energy and momentum for the Cavaliers. They've had that a lot this season. The Cavalanche, as they call it, when they just rain down threes. Max Strus had that the other day as well against Dallas. He went 5 for 5 from 3 in the fourth quarter, and of course hit that 60-foot game-winning full court shot to win that game. But that's kind of similar to this in a sense, where even though in the Mavericks game they were up most of the game, and then the Mavericks kind of came back within the Cavs, Max Strus had to do it to him. Cleveland today was Dean Wade. Dean Wade brought the energy, hit a couple threes, and then got everyone else going. And then of course we know the Cavaliers defense is elite, one of the best as it gets. and they locked down Boston. And Boston had a tough shooting fourth quarter. Jason Tatum, I think, was like 1 for 11 from the field in the second half, 1 for 12 from the field in the second half. He had just 4 points. The bench didn't really provide as much as it was in the first half when guys like Luke Cornett and Payne Pritchard were doing their thing in the first half. Really, it was just running through Porzingis in the second half. The second half, a lot of their offense was give the ball to Porzingis or just pass the ball around and shoot a three. And the Porzingis offense was looking good. He had 24-9, 3 blocks, shot 9 for 18 from the field. He had a couple 3-pointers. He's like a big key to this Boston Celtics team. But yeah, Derek White had a tough shooting day. He hit just 1 shot in this game. He did have 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 blocks because it's Derek White. Jrue Holiday also had a tough shooting day, 2 for 6 and 3, which is rare for him because he's, I think, a 45% 3-point shooter. And then, of course, add in Jason Tatum having a tough second half. It's going to be tough to win games, but shout out to the Cavaliers, man. That energy they brought was big. They get to 40 wins. They're still third in the East. They're half game behind Milwaukee. Am I saying Celtics are not a contender anymore or anything like that? No. At the end of the day, it probably doesn't matter too much if Boston lost this game. It was just an insane comeback I saw by Cleveland. It almost happened again later that day when you had Suns and Nuggets, the second overtime game. The Nuggets were down by as many as 20-something points. Phoenix outscored Denver 37-18 in the fourth quarter. But then Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, KCP, and the Suns, or the Nuggets, brought it all the way back. They tied the game. Jokic misses the game winner. We go to overtime, and honestly, once it got to overtime, I thought, yeah, it's over. I thought it was over. Denver's got this one in the bag. Tough loss for Phoenix, but the Suns come out and outscored Denver 15-5 in overtime. Kevin Durant has 8 points. He was struggling to shoot from 3, but he hit his last 3 3-pointers, including 2 in overtime. That set them over the top. Bradley Beal as well hit a couple big shots in this game that were big. And yeah, Denver was 2 for 5 from the field in overtime. Had a couple turnovers. Just didn't look right in OT. And the Suns got a big win that they needed. Phoenix, snaps their couple game losing streak. Nuggets snapped their 6-game win streak, their first loss since after All-Star break. KD finished with 35, 8, and 5. Grayson Allen had 28 points. He started 8 for 8 from 3. Of course, he kind of cooled down. Bradley Beal had 16 points as well in this game. Drew Eubanks had 10 and 8 off the bench as Nurkic fouled out in the fourth quarter of this one. But I thought it was going to be another comeback overtime win because I thought, with Denver's team, it's like, dang. Like the first 2 quarters, they were kind of tough. It was tough shooting. A lot of turnovers didn't look right. But in the fourth quarter came, and they started to look like the team, and I thought they were going to have momentum going on overtime. But shout out to the Phoenix Suns and Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal for winning this game. That's a big win that they, again, really, really, really needed. Because they were kind of slipping down in that rankings. Other little things I saw yesterday. Alperen Sengun. Insane performance. 45 points, 16 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 steals, and a block. Shot 19 for 32 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, 5 for 7 from the free throw line as they defeated the Spurs, outdueled Wemby. Just an amazing game. I think he says the first center in NBA history to have a 45, 15, and 5 steal, multiple 3-pointer type of game. He was absolutely dominant. Sengun didn't really have of course he had a great start to the season, but I feel like in February, he kind of didn't look right. In February, the numbers still kind of look pretty decent. In February, he averaged 17, 8, and 4 off 53% shooting. It didn't feel like that, though, for some reason. I don't know why it didn't feel like he was having an amazing month of February. But also because the Rockets didn't have a great month of February in terms of team success. They won their first couple games in March. They're kind of out of it. They're not going to make the play-in. They're a couple games behind. But, again, progress for Houston. And Alperen Sengun having that game like that was amazing. He's the future of the Houston Rockets. I think we saw that after seeing what he was doing early in the year. But he is the future of the Houston Rockets. He is an amazing player. You know what I mean? But the Rockets got to win. The Pelicans put up 139 on Toronto. Trey Murphy got 34 points. Miami got a win on Detroit, 118-110. Jimmy Butler went into his bag. The Magic beat the Hornets. The Magic are sitting at the 4th spot in the Eastern Conference right now, which Magic back in October saying, in March, the Magic will be the number 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. That's amazing. They got that win. And then that's really it. Luka had a 39, 10, 11 triple-double, and they lost to Indiana. The Mavericks are kind of struggling. They've lost a couple games. They're down to 8th. They're only a half game above the Lakers now. But yeah, just an amazing night last night. Some pretty solid games in the NBA. But that Boston-Cleveland game, man, I was locked in. That was a really, really fun game. Shout out to the Cavaliers. But yeah, it's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, enjoyed the content around here. Consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, all stuff like that. Really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.